Hello, brother, Technovoid back here with something a little bit different than usual. So, normally, I wouldn't be playing Garden Warfare 2, but if you are watching this video before November 3rd, 2020, I highly recommend you go pick it up. It is currently $6. Just to know, when I got this game in 2016, it was $60, so yeah, that's a pretty good deal. Since I've gotten a couple of my friends newly into this game, I figured I'd make a quick video explaining each class so that, you know, people can figure out a little bit easier what they want to do, which classes they would enjoy, and generally if they would enjoy the game. So starting off with Peashooter, this is the probably most basic plant class. So you, with the Peashooter, have some really nice splash damage. So if you shoot someone in the face, let's see if we can even find someone to shoot in the face. Basically, you shoot single peas, pretty slow rate of fire. If you can hit a zombie, as you can see there, you're going to be doing a lot of damage. Especially if you hit him in the head, you're going to be getting a lot of damage. But the really nice thing about the Peashooter is you actually don't have to hit enemies because they actually get a lot of splash damage on their peas, which sort of makes up for the fact that they have a pretty slow rate of fire, as it were. So you can always just, you know, aim for the ground near a bunch of enemies and you'll still be able to do damage, and that's pretty nice. Each character also gets 3 other abilities. So for Peashooter, the first of those is going to be on the 1 button, that is the Chili Bean Bomb. So this is a bomb that you can basically throw out by pressing the 1 button, and after a couple of seconds, it'll explode and do a bunch of damage to every zombie nearby. Then next on the 3 button, you have the boost or the sprint. I'm not sure what it's called, but basically it makes you really fast for a couple of seconds and it lets you jump super high. This is really useful for platforming, getting the Peashooter up to higher places, and it's also very useful for if you just want to jump up and shoot generally down at enemies and get all that very nice splash damage. You can do that, which makes this a very beginner friendly class. Honestly, I do recommend Peashooter to people when they're starting out. I think it's very good. Then finally, on the 2 button, the Peashooter has the Pea Gatling, which is going to lock you in place, so you're going to be stuck in the ground now, but now you get basically a machine gun that is going to be doing a ton of damage. You can see at the bottom there, I have a certain amount of ammo in this form. I can press 2 to jump out of it, but it will go on cooldown. If I press 2 and go into the form, and then I jump out of it before using up any ammo, I will actually get the cooldown refunded. So if I lock myself into a bad spot and I don't think it's a good idea, I can always jump out of there and use it again in just a couple of seconds. Otherwise, you are going to have to wait for the cooldown. Of course, the Peashooter has many variants, including the Fire Pea, the Ice Pea, all your elemental variants that you have for most classes, as well as some things like Agent P, Law P, that are going to work a little bit differently. They might have less splash but do more damage, just stuff like that. So that's going to be it for Peashooter. Can you not, bud? Can you not? It would be very appreciated if you didn't do that. So next up for the plants, the second one is going to be the Chomper. So the Chomper is definitely harder to play, I would say. The Chomper is almost a purely melee class. Their regular attack is this Chomp. It does a lot of damage to enemies, but you do have to be in melee range to use it. They have very few answers to anybody who is far away from them. So if we can get close to an enemy here, we will see that we can just kind of smack them, do a bunch of damage each time. So another thing I should actually mention is that if you happen to get behind a zombie, if I could do that, if y'all would stop killing all these zombies, that would be super cool. But I need you to, see, this is why it's hard to play this class. If you can get behind a zombie, god damn, shit, dude, would you stop? If I had my abilities, this would be much easier. Okay, let me show off the abilities, we'll get back to that. So the one is going to be some goop, that you can spray some goop on some enemies. It's going to really slow them down. It's going to make it impossible for them to use their abilities, which is really, really nice. Cooldown is pretty low. This is basically your only ranged option. And this will be a good time to show off the other thing that I wanted to say. If you goop someone and you can get behind them, god, fuck. Oh god. As you can see, skill is not important when playing this game. You don't need to be skillful, as I'm clearly not, and, you know, I still get to have fun. It's very nice like that. So as you can see here, you get this little button, you get this little icon, that lets you chomp the enemy, which is going to make them unrevivable, and it makes you unable to do anything for a couple of seconds, but then you eat them and you're all good. So next up is going to be 3, that is your spike weeds. You can place a couple of these on the ground. If a zombie steps into these, they're basically going to be unable to do anything, and it's going to let you nice and easy just chomp them nice and easy like that. As you saw there, if you are dealing with a shielded zombie, so that would be a zombie that has a barrel, any sort of shield like that, instead of eating the zombie themselves, you're actually going to eat the shield. Which is not great, so you always want to avoid that when possible. And finally, on 2, if you thought that getting behind a zombie to eat them was too difficult, have no fear. The burrow is here, and this move is basically lets you sneak up on enemies pretty well, and if you can get under them, you can pop up and chomp them like that. So the Chomper is definitely, compared to the Peashooter, I would say a more difficult class to play because they die a lot easier. You definitely don't want to be in a situation where you pop up in the middle of a bunch of enemies, because as soon as you chomp the one of them, everyone around you will be able to murder you while you are very slowly chewing. As you can see there already, a bad situation for me. And I missed because I'm great. Can you come back here? Thank you. So that's going to be the Chomper. They're definitely going to be your front line because they don't really have any other option. But you do want to be careful about when you're chomping on somebody versus when you're just biting them. Because you can kill yourself in that sort of situation. Next up on the plants, I believe, is going to be the Sunflower. The Sunflower is another really great class to play, just starting out. The Sunflower is very much a supportive class. Their basic ability is going to be the Sun Pulse. Basically, it's just a rapid fire. You can just hold the button down, shoot some enemies. Doesn't do too much damage, but honestly, for a support class, it's pretty decent damage. Reload time is not great, unfortunately. So the first ability on the 1, it's just a heal. You get a beam that you can put on your friends, give them heals. It's quite nice. And on 3, if you need to heal yourself, you can put down a little friend. You can put down a little heal flower. You can heal them too if you want. And every couple of seconds, they'll drop a few of these little these little suns, excuse me. You can pick up and that'll heal you. It's quite nice. Again, this is a very supportive class. And finally, on 2, this is going to be very similar to the P-Gatling, where you are going to you're going to lock yourself in place, and of course you can come right out. No problem, I just came out. But if you go into the ground, you now have a laser, and you can do some serious damage to enemies this way. It doesn't do all that much, but it is a lot of sustained damage if you can keep your reticle on somebody. And so that's going to be the Sunflower. Again, they are not going to be very much a frontline character. They're definitely supposed to be helping their friends, doing that. Friendship's more important, you get the gist. But they do have options for damage. Sun Pulse is honestly pretty good if you can manage to hit all your shots, and especially get those headshots. Quite easy to aim with, but you don't get that splash damage that you would get with Peashooter. So that is probably the one big drawback of the Sun Pulse, although it has a very good rate of fire. So, then moving on to the last class that was in Garden Warfare 1, we have the Cactus. And the Cactus is definitely the sniper for the plants. The Cactus has really, really good range on their basic attack. As you can see here, I can get headshots from quite far away. Very nice. Is this regular Cactus? This is regular Cactus. So yeah, as I mentioned, there are different variants, elemental variants, other ones that do slightly different things. Some that can charge up their attacks. But this is just the basic variant. It's going to do a decent amount of damage if you can hit, which I can't because I'm bad. The Cactus does not want to deal with stuff up close and personal. They're generally not very good at it. You want to be hitting stuff from far away if at all possible. So further moves, the first one is, if things do get close, you have these potato mines. Potato mines are quite nice. You can place them down, and if someone steps on them, for the most part, they will generally kill. They're quite good at just straight up killing. Can you, bud, I'm trying to make a video here. That's very rude of you. So if I can lead the zombie onto this mine here, boom. Oh, he actually lived. Huh. There he goes. Now he's dead. On 3, you've got the Tall Nut. This is basically going to offer you some cover that you can hide behind. It also can be used to jump up on if you're trying to get to a higher ledge. So using them as stairs is often quite a funny use of the Tall Nut. Bruh, you need to not be here. I'm trying to do a video. I'm just trying to do a thing. And then finally for the Cactus, On your 2 button, you're going to have your drone, and the drone is a very interesting ability in that you can send it out, and now you are a little drone, you fly around. You can use your left control and space button to sort of go down, go up, and you get this little not very damaging shot that you have. Be warned, oops, I died there. Be warned that if you get found while you are using the drone, you're basically going to be completely powerless. Somebody can just come up next to you and kill you. No problem, you're not going to be able to fight back because you'll be in drone mode, and of course, as I just showed off there, if someone does manage to shoot the drone, it basically only has 1 hit that it can survive, so it's not great. Now I'm actually going to cut here to when we get the drone back, because I died too fast. I died too fast. Okay then, and so we have our drone back. So the other thing I wanted to show off is, as you can see here, if we press the 2 button, it's currently on cooldown, but if you press the 2 button, once it is available, you can actually call down a corn airstrike. So that doesn't look like it's going to hit anyone because I have terrible aim, and everybody ran away from there. But you can call down a little corn airstrike, which is honestly, it's pretty lethal. If you get a zombie getting hit by more than one of those corns, they're going to be taking a lot of damage. Generally, the drone is very good at getting those faraway safe kills, because if the garlic drone dies, it's no problem for the cactus, but you do want to be using it in a safe space because you cannot protect yourself during the point that you are using it. So here we go, let me try again. Maybe I'll get some kills this time. No, they killed everything too quickly. And you can press E to kill your own drone and go back to your character. So that's the cactus. They're going to be, again, very good at sort of the back line, taking care of stuff just from far away where they're safe. Next, we're going to move into the characters introduced in Garden Warfare 2, the first of which is the Citron. The Citron is probably what I would describe as the tank of the plant side. With 200 health, they do very well. Their main ability does not have ammo, but it is a cooldown. So if you use it for too long, it is gonna overheat, and you're gonna have to wait a few seconds before using it again. If you don't let it overheat, if you use it for a bunch, and then you stop, and then you use it again, and you stop, you'll be fine. So that's pretty cool. They do have a lot of health, Their one ability is going to work very similar to the Engineer's Stun Grenade, which I will show off in a bit here. Basically, you use it and it's gonna stun zombies nearby. This is very good for the Imp's mech. Being able to EMP-peach a Imp's mech is gonna basically prevent them from doing anything for a couple seconds, which is really nice because those are pretty dangerous. On the 3 button, we have the Peel Shield. This is basically just going to give you an extra shield. It doesn't restrict your movement at all. It doesn't really restrict anything at all. It just gives you an extra shield in front of you. Quite nice. And then finally, let me see if I can use the EMP here and show it off better. Yeah, so those zombies they all took some damage, and they all got stunned, which is quite nice. And finally, 2 for the Citron. If you're thinking, hey, he's moving pretty slowly, 2 is going to turn you into a ball, and this is going to give you a lot of really good movement. And if you thought this wasn't enough, pressing 1 while in ball form will make you even faster. This is quite similar to the Peashooter's sprint/bounce move, whatever you want to call it. Quite nice. And then if you press 3 while in this form, you're going to do a little charge up and roll out straight into some enemies. And you can press 2 to go back into your normal mode. So the Citron is definitely going to be your tank class. These guys are on the front line for the most part. They have a really good weapon for it. The Peel Shield offers them just a lot more health than they would otherwise have. And the EMP is very good at stopping zombies from really doing a bunch of damage to you. Next up, if I can get out of here, let me leave. I'm going, dude. I'm going. Next up, we're going to have the Rose, and the Rose is a support class that was added in Plants vs. Zombies 2. What this one does is, so the very nice thing about Rose is that she actually has some auto-aim. So even if you can't hit an enemy naturally, she's also got quite a floaty jump, but even if you can't aim at an enemy, as long as you're getting that little like red reticle, that it's like, oh, you're close enough, it'll sort of home in. And you kind of get some auto aimbot on Rose, which is, it's a bit broken. Not gonna lie. Not too much damage, but I mean, she can definitely hold her own. It's a lot better if you can sort of jump up and then hit enemies from atop, because it'll just track a lot better. As you can see here, just whoop, doop, boop, boop. I did not even aim at that guy a single time. So if you press the 1 button with Rose, she'll send out a little like time slowing spot. Any zombie that is inside that spot is going to get slowed down. They're going to have a hard time moving. Very, very good supportive move. And if you hit someone with your 3... Well, I didn't do it. We'll come back to that one. We'll come back to that one. I'm great at showing off stuff, aren't I? But if you use your 2 ability, let's say you get yourself into a pickle, you can press 2, and this is going to make you invincible, and it's quite nice. And you can do damage by clicking here. You can come out of that by pressing 2, or you can just wait it out, use it to get away. It is a very, very good move for basically getting yourself out of harm's way because you decided, oh no, I messed up. Also, of course, the speeding down time is very good, and now that I can finally show it off, if you hit somebody with your 3 move, it's going to turn them into a goat. I didn't really get to show it off there, but they did turn into a goat. Goats are going to take extra damage, which is quite nice, and also all of their moves will be replaced with basically like a ram that they can use. They'll be in the goat form for a couple of seconds. They can still do damage to you with the goat's attacks, which is basically just ramming into you melee. But for the most part, if you do turn someone into a goat, they're going to be spending their time running away, just because they're gonna want to wait it out. Generally, not a good thing to not do that. Let me slow this guy down. You're gonna slow down, and then I'm gonna turn you into a goat, and you're not gonna like it, and you're gonna stand there, and he's see, he can ram. But yeah, Rose, otherwise, very much a support class. Can use that, do some damage, get out. Bruh. Nah, none of this. None of this. I'm gonna aimbot you to death, unless of course you kill me, which very well could happen here. I wish you wouldn't though. I really. He's gonna straight kill me. I don't want to die. I want to kill him. There we go. That would have been embarrassing. Now, oh shit. We might die. Oh no. Rose, get out of there. So Rose is definitely going to be a supportive class. You don't want to play her up too close, because she doesn't have too many answers at short range. Definitely want to be playing that from farther away. For the 3rd character that was added, we got the Kernel Corn. This is a personal favorite of mine. I really enjoy Kernel Corn. They're pretty much a pretty mid-range character. Their main move is going to be sort of very much like a what do you call it? Like a machine gun almost. The Cob Buster's just going to be doing a lot of damage. It falls off pretty quick. You're not going to be wanting to snipe with this because the damage does fall off pretty quickly. You can use your 1 ability. It's going to be very similar to the airstrike that the Cactus has, but it's basically going to call in some butter, gonna blow up any enemies. Then on your 3 ability, you're going to get basically a RPG. Just get some missiles that shoot off, and it does quite a bit of damage. Very similar, as you'll see in a bit here, to the ZPG that the Foot Soldier has. And maybe one of the strongest abilities, in my opinion, in Garden Warfare 2 is the Kernel Corn's 2 button, which, if you're ever in a bad situation, you can just go ahead and press 2. It'll launch you up into the air and just do a bunch of damage to anybody who's below you. You can use this to get out of a sticky situation, for platforming, or honestly just to do a bunch of damage. People are going to have a really hard time aiming for you when you are up in the air like that. And that's basically everything Kernel Corn does. He's quite simple, but in my opinion quite effective. He can be played up close. I generally wouldn't recommend it. He's not that tanky, and you're probably more likely to miss with your Cob Busters there. But otherwise, you're doing a lot of damage, and I cannot stress how good this move is. The 2 is quite strong. So that is going to be Kernel Corn. That is going to be all for the normal characters that you'll see in gameplay. However, there is one more plant that is unlocked if you do a lot of stuff in the story, or, you know, I guess you can buy the DLC for it, and that is the Torchwood. So the Torchwood is the highest HP character in the game. They are quite slow, and they also have one of those moves that is, you know, it doesn't have any ammo, but if you use it for too long, it will... What's the word I'm looking for? It's gonna require a cooldown. So, yep, I'm on cooldown now. If you got someone close to you, and people will generally be close to you, you have a Flame Breath on 1 that's going to basically kill anything nearby unless you're dealing with a mech potentially. This class, I mean, they're quite melee. They're a huge target, and they have a lot of health, and on 3, they've got a shield, the Leaf Shield. This is going to slow you down a whole bunch, but it's going to make you nigh impossible to kill. Combine this with the flames, and you can kind of just wreak havoc. And finally, on 2, you've got the Smoldering Madness, which is going to speed you up, it's going to give you unlimited ammo, and it's going to make all of your shots now also deal fire damage, which is going to deal damage over a short period of time. This is such an incredible move. If you can, I highly recommend unlocking this. It will require playing all the story content, or at least a decent chunk of the story content. There's going to be definitely some single-player campaign stuff you're going to have to do to unlock this character. If you really want to play him, and you really don't want to do that single-player content, which, I mean, I wouldn't blame you. It's alright, honestly. It's not the most engaging thing in the world, but it's alright. You can actually buy this and the goat on the plant side. It's a $10 DLC that is available on Origin. If you can save yourself the money and just wait it out, I would recommend doing that, but you know, this option is available to you if you choose to take it. So that is gonna be it for the plants. Torchwood is quite strong, and I cannot get over how incredibly strong Smoldering Madness is. Makes you faster, gives you unlimited health, and lets you deal fire damage. It's kinda nuts. Yeah. So that's going to be it for the plants. Moving on to the zombies, one of my favorite things about this game is, of course, that the two sides have very, very different classes. So moving on to the zombies, the first one that I want to talk about is the Foot Soldier. Foot Soldier is going to be quite similar to Kernel Corn in some ways. So your basic attack is going to be a sort of a very similar semi-automatic. I would compare it maybe to the Sun Pulse or the Corn Busters, where it's, you know, it's decent range. Again, another mid-range character. The you don't want to snipe. The damage does fall off, but you can hit from pretty far away. It's nice. Get some nice damage there. Dig it. On your 1, you're going to have a smoke bomb. The smoke bomb is going to do damage to any plants inside of it, and it's also going to obscure their vision. It will obscure your vision as well, but you should have a general idea of where enemies are when you're using it, and you will always get the red reticle if you're hitting somebody. On the 3, you have the ZPG, and this is a really fun move to use. It's a rocket. I completely missed, but it is in fact a rocket. If you are dealing with a plant that has rooted itself, so that's going to include the pea gatling or the sunflower using the laser, anything like that, I'm pretty sure the ZPG is guaranteed to kill. It's pretty funny when you can do that. And finally, sort of something that works very well with the ZPG is on... Oh no! I almost died there. With the ZPG, you also have the rocket jump, which is going to send you into the air and go woohoo! That's very good for getting on top of buildings, getting high ground, getting yourself away from a battle that you don't want to be in. It's quite nice. And you can sort of jump up into the air and then aim your ZPG down. It works really well. I'm a huge fan of it. In fact, I would like to potentially show it off here, if at all possible. Let's see if I can't get these fools with the double whammy. Where we got some plants. There's a plant. I want more though. Here we go, some plants. Yeah, baby. Boom. Nice. Yeah, so that's going to be a lot of damage. It's a lot of fun to use. Foot Soldier is probably one of my favorite zombie classes. I just think they're really enjoyable. Another one that, you know, I would recommend to new players. They're very simple, especially if you've played other shooter games before, which, you know, I kind of haven't. I don't really play much shooters, but if you do, this is probably going to be, in a lot of ways, similar to some of the mechanics from other games. Either way, a lot of fun. Highly recommend. You gotta love those ZPG kills. Next up on the zombie side, I want to say is the engineer. It is the engineer. So the engineer is going to be sort of, the rows in the engineer are going to be the classes that when you are playing Turf Takeover are going to be able to build the, what do you call them, the teleporters, so keep that in mind. The concrete launcher is going to be your basic ability. This is going to be sort of similar to the Peashooter's basic attack, where it's slow firing, but it does splash damage. As you can see, when I'm hitting the enemy directly, I am doing more, but I don't have to. I can just sort of aim in their general vicinity and I am going to get some nice damage off. If plants are getting too close for comfort, you can use one. That's going to be your stun grenade. It's going to work similarly to the EM Peach, where basically you're stunning any zombies. This works very well for chompers. In fact, I would say in general that the engineer does a good job of countering the chomper pretty well, because they can stun them, all sorts of stuff like that. On 3, you're going to get yourself a jackhammer. This is going to let you move around very fast, and if a chomper eats you while you're on a jackhammer, they will only eat your jackhammer, leaving you safe, at which point you can kill them while they're taking time to digest your jackhammer, which I don't really know how Chomper is doing that. That sounds pretty difficult. But that's how it's going to get done. That's a really good way of moving around. It's a lot of fun. And in Garden Warfare 1, the engineer actually did have the drone, much like the Cactus, but in Garden Warfare 2, the drone actually is on another character, so your 2 has now been replaced with something very similar to the P Gatling. You're gonna get your turret ammo, just do a lot of damage, shoot them. You're so dead. You're so dead, and you can jump off of that. And that's gonna be the engineer. I would say this class is probably somewhat technical. Having the ability to shoot the ground and get that nice splash damage is always a benefit, especially if you don't have good aim, as I do not. And I really, really love the jackhammer for this class. It's just a lot of fun to use. That's generally what they're going to be doing. However, I don't feel like the engineer is that strong a character. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just not very good at using them. But that's just how I feel. But they are a lot of fun, and some of the variants are quite good. And, you know, the stun grenade is going to be really, really good against those chompers. Moving on to the third class, we're going to have the Scientist. And the Scientist is interesting in that they are the healer class for the zombies. But they're also, rather than being like the Sunflower where they're a support class, they're actually sort of an assassin. They have to be very, very close. I'm not going to show it off here. The Scientist does have a heal beam in this game, very similar to the Sunflower, where you can just latch yourself on. I'd probably recommend using it, but I want to show this off instead, because they also, instead of that, they can run the whatever you want to call this. It basically works similar to a heal flower, where you can do you can get your heals like this, and this won't explode. There is a variant of it that doesn't take damage but explodes, and you need to fucking die. Alright, bud? Thanks for that. So that's going to be quite nice. On your 3 button, you're going to get the sticky bombs. You can also use a variant of this that is going to heal instead. But if you use the sticky bomb, that's going to latch onto anything and kill them after a short time. You can latch these onto enemies, you can latch these onto the ground. When people run by them, they will die, or they will take a lot of damage. But otherwise, with this class, you do need to be up close and personal to get your damage in. As you can see here, I'm taking a bit of damage. I don't like that. I'm gonna come in here, get some heals up. The Scientist is a lot better at healing themselves, I would say, than the Sunflower is, which I think is a fun dichotomy between the Science. And finally, the bread and butter, I would say, of the Scientist is the Warp. It lets you get in, and then it lets you get out. Very, very fun ability. You can also run the Energy Warp, which works a little bit differently. The way the Energy Warp works is it's going to turn you into a small... It's basically going to work like Arcane Enigma on Rose, I guess is a good way to put it. But the regular Warp is also quite good. The fact that you get 2 charges, that you can run up to 2 charges, is very, very nice. I'm going to use this to get out. But a lot of the time you'll be wanting to use one to get in, and then another one to get out. Get some kills here, and I'm leaving. So that's going to be the Scientist. Another fun class. I think this is Hamsterwing's favorite class, if I had to hazard a guess. And yeah, they're a fun dichotomy of both healing and also not at all being a support class. That's going to be it for the Scientist. Moving on to the All-Star, the final class that was in the original game. The All-Star has another one of those weapons without any ammo, but after a couple of seconds, it is going to overheat. So you want to be managing that. Of course, they do a lot of damage. As you can see here, a lot of sustained damage, especially if you take a second off. Oh, he's going for it. I should show off my 3 first here. So, with your 1 ability, you're going to get the Imp Hunt. This is basically going to say, hey, you want an imp? Here you go. And you, well, That's terrible. I can't see anything. So here's your 3 ability. It puts up a little boy in front of you. I should not have said that way. But it does put up a little thing in front of you, which is going to eat up a lot of your damage. It's quite nice. On the one, the Imp Hunt, I didn't really show it off, but it basically shoots off a bomb. Holy crap, would you stop? Would you stop? This is really rude. This is really rude. I'm just out here trying to make a video. And then on 2, you're going to get the Sprint Tackle. Melee move, run through things. Does a lot of damage. It's going to be very similar to the Citron's rollout. And so let's show off the Imp Hunt here for real this time. I'm gonna punt an imp at you. Eat him in the face. That's no good. He's not enjoying that. Can I kill him? Can I kill this bot? I may be in a spot of bother here. I maybe don't want to do this. Can you die? Can you die though? Thank you. So that's gonna be the All-Star. Pretty simplistic. Again, pretty melee class, although they do have ranged options, which is nice. You can punt some imps at them. I'm dead. I'm dead. I didn't die? I'm a god? He's a god. He can't be stopped. Golden God of Garden Warfare 2 skill. Alrighty, so that is going to be it for the variants from the first game. Coming in Garden Warfare 2, we've got the Imp. Imp has the least HP of any character in the game, but they are very small hitbox, and they get a double jump, which is super cool. And you can like go sideways with your double jump. It's pretty great. It's fun like that. So they also have a really high rate of fire. It's kind of not super accurate from far away, so you do kind of need to be somewhat close, which is unfortunate, but given your small stature, it shouldn't be a huge deal. With your one ability, you get a gravity bomb, where it'll put anybody up in the air like they just don't care. And then on your 3, you got your Imp Kata, which is just gonna do a little bit of whatever the hell this is. Nice. Give me that. You can use those 2 abilities in tandem really well together. It's quite nice. You use your gravity bomb, get a bunch of plants in the air. They'll still be able to shoot, but they won't be able to move. And then you use your Imp Kata and just sort of do a huge amount of damage to everything around you. Despite the fact that the Imp has very low health, if they get to survive for 2 whole minutes without dying, they get access to the Imp Mech. And the Imp Mech is very strong. Every Imp variant has a different mech. But the mech is basically, as you can see here, it has some battery power, so you can't use it forever. But you kind of become really strong. Your one ability at this point turns into Missile Madness. Just do a whole bunch of missiles. You just do a whole bunch of missiles. And if you're up close to some people, stomp them. Just kick them. It's pretty great. So in this form, you're going to have a lot of health. It's, I guess, sort of like D.Va's mech from Overwatch. People are probably familiar with D.Va's mech. It does a lot of damage. Of course, the Robo Laser is going to also be one of the cooldown weapons, so you want to be careful of that. And they have just a whole lot of health. And if you do run out of health in this form, the Imp's going to die, unfortunately. But if you press 2, you can actually jump out, and it'll explode. Yeah, that should remind you of a character from another game. So that's the Imp. Again, you're going to have to wait the full 2 minutes without dying if you want to get your mech again. But if you feel like you are going to die, getting that explosion can be quite... Can you stop? Can be quite nice. Let's see if we can't take this idiot out. Nah, he's very far away. He's very far away. But maybe if I can hit him with that. I didn't hit him. You get an Imp Kata. Let's send it with an Imp Kata. Not an Imp Kata, an Imp Kata. Woo! Alrighty. Moving on to the second new class for the zombies. We've got the Super Brainz. I'm not a huge fan of Super Brainz, if I'm being honest. I don't really like this class. They're kind of Chomper-esque in that they're melee. Your main attack is going to be these punches. You do get a lot of air. Really big jump. And if you zoom in, you actually get a different primary attack. You get this laser. I'm about to die. No, I'm not. I keep saying that, but it's never true. So if you're far away, you do get this laser. It's, still pretty good. And this is one of the only, I want to say, 2 classes that has a different attack depending on whether they are zoomed in or not. Yeah, it's not really doing all that much damage. For the most part, you want to be up close. Of course, you do have a couple of options. If you press 1, you get a Hadouken. Get a lot of damage on those plants. Good ranged option. Frankly, a lot better than this laser. And then if you want to get up close and personal, you can always opt for a kick. Let's try that again. Get another kick there. That's sort of like what the whatchamaface does, the All-Star. And then if you are in a bad spot, 2 is going to make this this hurricane that you just do some damage. You're going to not take very much damage, and you can always get out of there. Use the Hadouken, and you know, I guess you could use the kick as a way to get out, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. I probably would say the kick should be a coming in move, as it were. But yeah, you get up close to somebody, you do some punches, it's pretty good. The class is pretty slow. They got those nice uppies. But otherwise the class is, I feel they're kind of underwhelming. I don't know how strong they're like technically considered within the meta, but I don't know. The Hadouken's nice. The Hadouken's pretty fun. And that is gonna be the Super Brainz. The tornado move, I guess, is good for not taking damage. Otherwise, it feels kinda underwhelming. Next up on the zombie side is going to be probably my favorite zombie to use, and that is Captain Deadbeard. Captain Deadbeard's very similar to Cactus. Captain Deadbeard from up close, kind of like the Super Brainz, has 2 different modes of attack. From up close, they're kind of get the sawed-off shotgun, where they just basically do short-range damage, but a lot of it up close. And then if... oh, well, okay. Maybe I need to just kill you. Though. But if you're far away, Captain Deadbeard is actually going to get some really, really nice range, as you can see here. Boom. Just easiest headshot of my life. You gotta die. You gotta die. There you go. So that's Captain Deadbeard. So up close, you got the sawed-off shotgun, and then from far away, you've got this really nice spyglass shot, which is gonna make it, I say really easy, makes it can you stop dying? I just want to hit you. I just want to hit you, brother. I just want to not look like a dumbass. So then on the 1, you're going to get the Barrel Blast, where you jump into a barrel. This is going to give you some armor. You can detonate it, which will, after a couple of seconds, blow you up, take somebody out. Pretty fun move there. If the barrel runs out of energy, not really sure how a barrel has energy, but if you do run out of energy, it'll just go ahead and start the detonation process, which then, after a couple of seconds, will explode. You're dying. You're out of here. Next up, on your 3 button, you're going to get another very, very, very fun move. I don't remember what it's called. It's called, like, Cannon Calamity. That's what we're going to call it. You getting on Cannon? You start shooting fools. Just bam, bam, wham bam, thank you ma'am. And that's going to do a ton of splash damage. If you can get that into a group of enemies like that over there, you can just sort of cannon them all to death. It's pretty great. Of course, if you are on the cannon, you're going to kind of become like a really, really easy target and a priority target. So try and use it where people don't necessarily obviously see you, would be my recommendation. Let's see if we can't get another. Let's get another Barrel Blast. Here's a plant. I want to kill him. The Barrel Blast is, you know, probably, I would argue, is pretty similar to the Chili Bean Bomb. Just in terms of how much damage it does, and just how the explosion radius works. Oh, there's a Torchwood. We don't like that. We don't like those. And then finally, okay, here's a rose. Smack her in the head. Boom, boom. That's what you like to see. Nice, nice. Yeah. All right. And then finally, on to, you're gonna get your Parrot Pal. So the Parrot Pal works basically identically to the Garlic Drone. You get your little shot. You can move up and down. And then after a short while, am I gonna get eaten here? Am I gonna get eaten here? You better not. I'm dropping idiots on you. Get out of here. So as you can see there, we got very similar to the Corn Strike. We got some Robo Parrot droppings, eggs on the enemies. So that is going to be Captain Deadbeard. This is definitely, I would say, my favorite zombie class. I think they're a lot of fun. Call me a filthy camper, but I like them a lot. It's probably this or the Or the foot soldier, I would say. These are probably my favorite too. And then finally, much with the Torchwood, if you manage to either spend the money or play the game for long enough, you can unlock the Hovergoat 3000. The Hovergoat 3000 is not nearly, I would say, as powerful as the Torchwood. They're more of a support class. The Radical Ray Gun, it's going to work, I want to say similarly to the Sun Pulse. It's probably not very accurate. I just killed the boss though, so that's nice. As you can see here, it does do a bit of damage. It's not too bad, but you know, generally they're not super damaging. With your 1 button, you attach a beam to somebody, but instead of healing them, this beam's actually just going to make them do more damage. This is a damage beam. It's quite nice. Let's kill. Oh, I'm slow. Well, also the goat cannot be goatified by Rose. Fun fact, since we're fighting Rose, no goatify on me, thank you very much. Next up, on 3, you're going to get a speed boost, and any zombies around you are also going to get a speed boost. As I said, very much a supportive class. And then on 2, you're going to get a laser. You can move while using this laser, so it's not quite similar to Sunflowers. You do slow down somewhat, but otherwise, that's how it's going to work. And that is pretty much all for Goat. Pretty simple class, not too complicated, but of course you are not going to have access to this one when you are starting out your Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 journey, unless you choose to buy them. I like the movement, and the if you find a fun ally that you like that you can boost up their damage, is pretty cool. And that is going to be it. So hopefully this video was at least slightly informative to you folks sort of joining the game for the first time. Hopefully you found a class that you feel like you would jive with, and I look forward to playing with y'all at some point in the future. I've been Technovoid. Please do like and subscribe, although if you're watching this you probably already are, because this video is very directed at a couple of people. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.